Hey Trekkies, it's summer, and you know what that means. It's time for Creation Entertainment's Trek to Las Vegas 2025. This year, the convention has been expanded to a 5-day schedule, August 6th through the 10th at the Rio Las Vegas Hotel. Meet all your favorite Star Trek pros in one place, and hey, maybe you swing by Vic's Lounge and you see our panel. It's a great way to meet people in person and have some fun with your fellow Trekkies. If you can't make it to Star Trek Las Vegas, of course, there's also other events around the country this year. Trek to Orlando, August 23rd through 24th. There's the Trek to New Jersey, September 6th and 7th. And finally, the Trek to Chicago, November 22nd and 23rd. We're looking forward to meeting as many of you as we can this year. So make sure that you get ready to trek to Las Vegas.
Is this thing on? Hello, hello. Welcome to Open Pike Night. I'm your host, George Samuel Bowles, here tonight to listen for some great callers and my co-hosts on stage to discuss pain, loss, and the brightest light you've ever seen. Joining me tonight are my co-hosts, the man whose screams will echo off the corridors of the Enterprise for years to come, Jesse Bailey.
Let's be honest, John. It is early morning, and I use the term early very loosely, but I have my Open Pike Night stickered coffee carafe here, ready to go. And good Lord, what happened to your beard?
Yeah, you cannot just turn your video on halfway through your introduction with no beard and expect us not to react. I think we both deserve medals.
That was pretty impressive. I was waiting for Jesse to take his coffee right into his camera, Cam to just throw his yogurt across the room, but also with me, the man who likes his pancakes with a nice raw bloody center, or is it his eggs with a nice raw bloody center? I really can't tell. Host of Green Shirt and Newbie's Trek to the Next Generation, Cameron Harrison.
Maybe if I fly this podcast into the sun, I too can be rid of my parasitic co-hosts. I kid. I love you guys. Even without your beard.
Dude, trust me, I know. Tonight we are here to discuss the loss of my beard and the Star Trek, the original series episode, Operation Annihilate, which was the 30th and final episode of Season 1.
Also, did you guys notice what two banger of episodes this one lies between?
City on the Edge of Forever, right?
Yep.
Spock 'em up.
Preceded this? Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man.
The poor middle stepchild this episode is.
And,
seriously.
You know, even though I am still bleary-eyed and not quite bushy-tailed, I will point out that this is actually episode 29 of the first season.
Fine.
Because the cage hadn't aired on television.
The cage hadn't aired.
I gotta be that
Paramount
guy.
calls it 30. IMDb calls it 29.
And we will talk about what the actual monsters from this episode are made of, because it is hilarious.
Oh,
Well,
you mean the farting, melting dumplings? Is that
yes.
what we're talking about?
You're getting
So many
closer.
So we have some great calls tonight, and yeah, we're here to discuss the episode where Sam Kirk dies, and man, this is my first time seeing this episode, and I heard, oh yeah, it's Kirk in a mustache. I didn't realize it was a quarter second of Kirk in a mustache. It's like Star Trek went all Star Wars with Sam Kirk and said, hey, see this minor character? Let's make a whole story about him in another series. Let's make him a major character compared to what he got. So,
Now, along
I
those
hope
lines,
so. It sounds like he was just going to be a kind of a joke in the first episode, right? And kind of got more and more screen time, especially into season 2.
yes. Thankfully, Dan Janot's, deep research into the character and its mustache it seems to be, a big part of why he's stuck around. And I'm really grateful that not only are we getting a fleshing out of this character, but that it feels meaningful, because
yeah,
it makes this harder to see. Like, I mean, yes, it is Shatner in a mustache from a different angle, but it's
with
my
like
question.
face paint on. Like he seemed pale. I don't know.
maybe
I'm sure
it was
they did something.
maybe it was the lighting.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just didn't put the face paint on him.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of makeup on in these
Oh
shows.
man.
My question is, we've seen a lot of shots of that. I mean, Kirk gets cloned, twin brothered,
Mhm.
roboticized. I don't know, so many times. Do you think it's the same guy that always plays Kirk's back when they're shooting the reverse?
It is probably always that same stunt double, and I don't know the guy's name, but I think he actually ended up like semi-famous for playing the other Kirk. So
Oh, that's cool. Good for him.
but along the lines of what John was saying, how do we feel about the actual in-episode reveal that Jim has a brother? Was it handled better or worse than the first time we heard about Cybok?
Well, I'm of two minds, because I will say that having the cold open end on the cliffhanger of, oh, you have a brother and he's in danger, is kind of refreshing from what we usually get, which is, it's a living slinky, or we've suddenly time traveled, or right, it's a much more character based, much more kind of down to earth, and so that was nice, I thought. But then when we come back from the cold open, there's a line a little ways into the scene going, you were right back then during the cold open, you were right, that is my brother. So did Kirk just sit there and like pointedly not answer Bones?
There's a
when he
lot of
asked him
sitting
that?
there pointedly not answering people in this episode.
I mean, it kind of fits, I guess, but yeah, wow.
But that's got to be a relic of old episodic TV, right? Like,
Sure.
if you missed that cold open and you came in, right as the credits were starting or right after the credits, you needed to be caught up to speed. They do only do it the one time, but then I think they mention, your sister-in-law, your nephew. He says, my brother. I mean, it happens like 50 times.
Well, it's
Yeah.
interesting. I mean, getting ahead a little bit, but I do like how Kirk is like, my brother's son at one
Yeah.
point. And like, oh, wow, you are disassociating hard here.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
do think they actually kind of get the trauma across fairly well for
Yeah.
the time period.
And
Yeah.
he, his attitude on the bridge before they land is pretty well done. Like,
Mhm.
he's kind of being overly bossy with Uhura, and thankfully she's like, hey, back off. Like,
yeah,
Well,
she's great.
I mean,
she has a great moment.
yeah.
He probably woke up and like he's thinking about his brother. He's like, man, remember the time she slugged me on the Enterprise, like back when I was a lieutenant? Like, I'm a little mad at her right now for this, so that's why I was getting all snippy with her.
That's fair.
But
That's right.
man, and talk about a cold open. Like TOS loves ice cold opens. Like we are
Yeah.
right into the action. No captain's logs. No, I didn't realize how much TNG softened the blow with captain's logs to open the episodes. Like,
Mhm.
man, we are chasing a 200-year-old insanity plague across the galaxy, I guess, because that's what they're doing, and no
Yeah.
explanation.
We are 2 minutes into the episode when Leonard Nimoy is saying the line, mass insanity destroying civilizations. And it's a testament to his acting ability that's only a little cringy and awkward, that line.
Yeah. And it actually, I think I'll talk a lot about Spock in this episode, but like, it actually works for his performance here that he would know Sam Kirk and probably know that Sam Kirk is stationed on this planet before anybody else, but he keeps it so buttoned down that it I don't know, it like fits in a strange, like non-present way.
Do you kind of wish that when he beamed down and was entered his house and was looking at the dead bodies, he just kind of looked around and was like, place is a fucking pigsty.
Crumbs
Knew it.
everywhere.
None of these
Yeah.
people are wearing red shirts.
That's another thing too. I was waiting for that red shirt to go. Like,
Oh, man.
like,
Yeah.
you guys, they beamed down with a red shirt to a planet full of insane Reavers, basically like pre-Reavers from Firefly. And like, wow, the red shirt made it out. He's fine.
I also love, is it the Yeoman or
Oh yeah.
the
Yeah.
red shirt woman whose job was to transcribe everything, and for the rest of the episode she is just transcribing everything happening.
And
she took her job seriously.
she beams down standing in a plie. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Like her
Oh yeah,
her feet.
Her feet.
Yeah, and then as soon as
Interesting.
the beam is over, she like sets them forward. So I'm wondering, I think our friend Mark in the Discord was talking about her having an interesting career, and I haven't looked all the way into it yet, but I'm wondering if maybe she was a dancer.
Yeah. I mean, it's something a lot of actors do. Like, dance is a major part of being a performer, even
especially
in front of the
back
camera.
then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, should we hear from one of our callers and start this episode off? All right. I'm going to go with our new caller. We have a brand new caller, Sub Commander Tall, calling in. I had to trim it down a little bit. He definitely went past the time limit, but I left it a little bit long for a good first time call. So let's go ahead.
That probably happened because this is a Romulan caller, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
They disregard
rules?
Starfleet regulations, yeah.
We're too soft.
Hello, this is Sub Commander Tall from Twitter here. This is not a classic episode. It's probably one of the weaker ones from season 1. Although Spock is the character from the original series who is known for having this tormented inner life, or this difficult youth growing up between worlds, with a father like Sarek and not feeling at home in either place. And all that is true. Despite that, it's really Captain Kirk who has more bona fide tragedy in his past than Spock has. If you think of what happened with Kodos the Executioner on Tarsus 4, if you think of him being responsible in some ways for his first captain's death on the Farragut and that gaseous cloud, and then losing his brother, still in the prime of his life. The other thing to say about this episode is it's different from many Star Trek episodes where you're dealing with an unknown alien that at first seems like a threat, and then you find out there's nuance there, and there's an understanding that happens. With this, it's just a bona fide bug hunt, and the aliens are monsters. But it also goes to show that the Star Trek format was flexible, and they could do the empathy and reaching out, a la the Horta or the Creature in Metamorphosis, or even the Gorn. But they could also do the alien style, just got to kill them all approach. But yeah, it's an interesting episode. That woman Aurel, her screams are through the roof. I've always thought you should have that as an alarm clock. Whoever that actress is, she does a great job at just ear-piercing screams. And it's fun, always fun to see original Star Trek on location, as it was in this episode. And that I think it was TRW at the time, or maybe Northrop Grumman Office Park. I forget which. Anyway, I hope the podcast is great. Bye.
Jolan True,
All right.
Sub Commander, you brought up some great points. And
Yes, you did.
I am very interested to talk about some of them. Now, I have to agree completely on the aliens here, and I'm glad that you brought up the aliens from Alien in relation to this, because I had that in my head like half this episode. I was like, I need to know if Ridley Scott... Wait, was it Ridley Scott? Yeah, it was Ridley Scott, not Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just needed to know if he had seen this episode before creating Aliens, because there are some real sharp parallels here. And I was like getting even some Lovecraft vibes from these things at first. I was like, man, this is really very cool to see such a different take on the potential enemy in a Star Trek episode. And to your point, in the original script for this episode, it ended with the Enterprise flying to the aliens' home planet and basically nuking it to destroy the influence of these creatures.
It's the only way we can be sure.
That's
yeah. They can bill me. Yeah,
it's really, really interesting, and there's some really cool behind the scenes stuff about this episode. But I also want to say thank you for calling. Every time we get a new caller, we're like, hey man, that's really cool. People are still listening to the show and still finding the show, and we're glad to add your voice to the Open Pike Night stage.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, Sub Commander Toll. I mean, I just had a bit of a revelation that either John is going to join me with, or maybe he already knows. But you bring up a good point that Spock has this tragic backstory. He is tormented by his past, maybe more so than any other character. Though, as John likes to point out, you cannot join Starfleet unless you are an orphan or have some other sort of tragic past. And really, compared to almost every other character, at least in TNG I'm thinking of, Spock's had it pretty good. Like, his family was not killed on Kittimer? No, where was Worf's family killed? Anyway, and then raised by humans. He was not escaping through underground tunnels from rape gangs. He was not... did not have a husband die in a fiery death at the hands of someone you have a burning crush on. Like, is that how that went down at Picard's hands?
Crush,
anyway, Spock does come across as very, very emo when you look at him in the palette of the entire Star Trek character oeuvre.
It's that inner turmoil, Cameron. He's the child of two worlds.
Oh, some kids didn't like me at school and Dad was hard on me.
But Dad's still
But
alive.
my mom
Mom's still
really
alive.
loved me. Yeah.
My brother's still alive. My sister's still alive.
Yeah. Well, as far as he knows. But
Right.
a take that I really like on Spock, and I don't remember where I heard this. It may have been It's Got Star Trek, but Spock, if you really look at him, kind of has a similar thing going on to Worf, right? Where he's like super dedicated to the Klingon side of himself and like immersing himself in the culture and being like a huge fanboy of all the most traditional things with that culture. But it's like a lot of other Vulcans we meet are just kind of chill in comparison. Like, yeah, they talk in a similar way, but like they're not necessarily all about every tenet of the culture the way that Spock is. So maybe some of that turmoil is self-inflicted.
Yeah. And I like the point Subcommander Tall makes, like, this is an extermination. This is an annihilation operation. They don't try and understand the aliens at all. And I really like that as, like, the parasitic alien taking over people and build, like trying to spread culture that way. We don't ever hear their voice. It is just the people who are infected who are like, it hurts if I do something wrong. Like, that's all we get. The guys are like, we don't want to hurt you. We run away because we don't want to attack you, but we have to, or we're going to be in agony. Like, it's just like, I love when people say, oh, we don't like DS9 because it's dark. And, like there's all these Prime Directive and all that. Like, no, this is kill these aliens as best we can. Do all the killing possible.
And they're super creepy. I mean, not to look at, but when we're told how they function, right? Like, they're just...
Well, when we're told that their brain cells, like, my imagination started. At first I was like, Galactus? Are we fighting Galactus now? What's going on? Like, so big. But then, like, or are we suggesting that the entire galaxy exists within the brain of this even larger alien? Were some ideas I thought this episode kind of brought up and then quickly ignored.
Well, it's interesting, Cameron, because I know there's an episode, and I think it's after this one, where they invent the, oh no, this nebula is a creature trope. And I wonder if it was at least partially inspired by this. And I couple things, like, if they're brain cells, how are they making any sound, first of all? Is that like purely because they're wet and they're on flat surfaces? Because I mean, that's kind of what the sounds sound like. But the description that Spock gives of these aliens once he realizes what they are is eerily similar to the original description we hear of the Borg.
I was thinking of the Borg a lot in this episode.
Yeah, part of a greater whole, no individual will, exists only to replicate. Like, I might have new respect for the Borg.
And also, like, willing to kill if you don't get in line. If you stray too far out of line, they're willing to torture you to death. Like, man, okay.
Yeah.
Because they don't apparently latch on. They don't latch on and stay and take over. They just infect and control. And like, man, this is honestly a little scarier than Borg, because it's like they'll just off you. They're not there to add to their numbers if they don't have to.
And they can be invisible once they infect you.
I don't know about you guys, but I've never seen a K3 indicator that high. So
yeah, seriously, especially once you turned it on. What I loved imagining while watching these things is, like, you remember those toys, like the half rubber ball toys from the 80s and 90s that you flipped inside out and they jumped on, like, that's how those things move, right? Just you hear a popping sound and then it flies through the air. Yeah.
Oh, you mean the ones that if you put it on your skin and left too long, they would kill you?
Yes. Yeah, you go to school the next day with like 5 hickeys, like
even middle school. I was like, how does that kill you?
Yeah.
I don't know if this is true.
That was
The internet doesn't exist yet,
gonna
but
say.
I think this is an internet lie.
that was before the internet, when memes were spread by word of mouth.
Exactly. Even
The
junior
ancient
high,
days.
like slap bracelets will cut your throat if you're not careful. Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
Okay, so now is the time that I may as well jump in with this. Do you guys have a guess as to what these aliens are actually made of?
Well, I mean, I would have just said like gelatin or something.
I know.
But I mean, like breast implants.
Oh,
okay.
That's a good guess. I mean, yeah, I just figured like
Or silicone, I guess.
balloons of like latex balloons, custom shaped with more liquid latex poured on them. But I don't know, I'm guessing not.
So they are actually made from bags of fake vomit. Like,
That was my joke. Obviously the colonists ordered too many of the fake vomits from the back of their comic books.
it's literally what they are made of.
I should have just gone with that.
Wow. Dang.
That's what they reminded me of. That's so funny.
We can't see Cameron's
Like,
notes.
how many did it take to make one alien?
Right. That's.
Because they were thicker.
Yeah.
They had more body,
Yeah.
more mass.
I want to know
they're
why there was so
pulsating.
much red coloration, and I'm
Yeah,
hoping that
that's
was
not
added.
healthy. I mean, no vomit is healthy technically, but that is really sick vomit. That's not good at all.
Actually, John, the
And-
vomit that you vomit when you're slightly too drunk and
Yeah,
not
that's
having a
healthy
good
vomit.
time anymore, and then you vomit and then you're fine, that's as close as to a healthy vomit as you can get.
There we go. Open Pike Night firmly supports boot and rally, according to Jesse.
I mean, if you gotta, you gotta.
All right. We have Platty.
Hey, Open Pike Night, it's Palladium 3 back with my hit shits and misses for Operation Annihilate. Starting with the hit, Kirk and company down on the planet stun those angry guys as they got rushed. Definitely a 4-for-4 hit with Spock, Kirk, and McCoy, Scotty nicely coordinating their shots to luckily take out 4 different guys. But they're also quite lucky the red shirt, a couple steps behind them, didn't hit them. He's got his phaser out pointed at their backs. Another hit here, our walking stack of books. Wow, Kirk, what an amazing realization that stars put out light.
Brilliant! Brilliant!
Get that man a Guinness. All right, shits. You know, McCoy's frontier medicine compared to, like, Bashir is computer shit. Bashir pulled out all-nighters trying to cure people. McCoy just shoved Spock in a light chamber without even waiting, like, 5 minutes for test results to come back. Also, Spock, close your damn eyes, man. His eyes are wide open when those lights turn on. Also, another shit, Kirk's ability to play call on the planet was questionable. He yells out, "Fan out! Follow me!" Did he really want them to spread themselves out? Or just line up behind him? Because that's how you get red shirts killed. Oh yeah, and Sam dying, that was shit. Misses. Totally missing lighting here in the surgery scene. McCoy and Chapel have Spock sliced open, yet there's only enough lighting to see half of Christine's face. Come on, man. Flick a switch, turn another light on. And staying with the lighting, did I somehow miss that extra sunlight would penetrate down into a closed dark area like they said? Those little floating amoeba things hiding in air vents and underground are somehow going to get enough light to kill them? I mean, I guess if you can poke around Spock in the dark, you can pretty much do anything.
My mind to yours, Platty. So many of the same thoughts, including, I just thought it would have been funny if they had all fired on one of those guys down on the planet, and then the other 3 are like, oh, cool, and then just rush them and knock him out. But that one guy would have just gotten blasted. Like, if you get hit with more than one phaser, does it affect you more, or does it still just stay at the
double
stun
stunned?
level?
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's a good question.
Is double stun equivalent to vaporize?
Like with Jesse's question earlier, I have to wonder, did Joel Schumacher see this episode before he made Batman and Robin and come up with the exact same solution of satellite saving? Is it Batman and Robin or is it
Poison Ivy just doing
Batman
something
Forever?
with that, right?
Batman Forever, right? Poison
Batman
Ivy
and Robin
Mr.
has
Freeze.
Poison Ivy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Batman and Robin. But yeah, same exact ending to save the planet with, man, they really updated the effects on that shot.
Yeah,
Well,
and
and I definitely also thought the same thing with Platty, that like, wait, light can penetrate even the darkest, most closed off regions. Now, yes, some light can. White light cannot. And they didn't need the white light. But of course, at the time, McCoy didn't know that and Spock didn't know that they didn't need the white light. So yes and no, yeah.
So a couple things here. First, completely agree that they obviously updated the visuals on this satellite sequence, but it's still badass. Like, that's a great sequence. Like, the Enterprise is like, all right, let's dump 200 satellites, and you're like, okay, that's what's in all the cargo bays, right? And like,
apparently so, yeah.
You're always hearing about cargo bays and seeing like racks of barrels, but you never know what's in there. I mean, unless it's...
And it gave Sulu his only line for the episode, so yeah.
Now, the other thing is like, was this written in a time when they didn't know light was just a form of radiation? Because McCoy is like, I've tried radiation. I've tried all these different things. And then it ends up actually being radiation that fixes this problem.
And also written at a time where they didn't know the harms of ultraviolet light. Like, this wouldn't have made him blind, shining a ton of ultraviolet light on him. It's like, yeah, man, it really would.
And there is no way that the light McCoy pumped into that cubicle was anywhere close to 1,000,000 candle power. Okay.
No.
Like, I got a little upset at this, you guys, and I know that it's because it's, a low budget TV show, but sunlight on Earth produces about 127,000 lumens and can damage your eyes.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Right? Like, meaning that the light bulb in this cubicle is meant to represent almost 8 times the brightness of the sun per square inch. Like, it's very clearly a 60-watt bulb.
Yeah. I mean, Spock gets a lot more in the Wrath of Khan that he does in his chamber.
Why not? Why not white the screen out when that happens?
That would have like that would have been fun.
Yeah, and it would kind of be more immersive. And I know that it is a nitpick, but that's what we do as Trekkies. So,
well, you say he tried all these things, but again, McCoy just gives up so quick this whole episode.
Oh,
he doesn't. He tries heat and radiation. And then he's like, oh, well, either it's him or Kirk, or like, well, there's all these other things. And they start going through these things as if like, well, it couldn't be that. And I'm like, why wouldn't you think gravity before light? Like, he is flying closer to one of the biggest gravity wells in the universe. And you're not going to try that might separate the parasite from the body. I don't know. I would jump to that before light.
Yeah. And if he
apparently they were warping toward the sun in that scene. If you pay attention to that line later, like, go to subwarp speed. Like, you were warping toward the sun? Dude.
Yeah.
Oh, warp one.
Yeah.
Warp is warp. Like,
were they?
You shouldn't be able to see it.
I was definitely also wondering if they're getting flashbacks of Beverly flying into the sun.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Shuttle.
She does that twice in like 4 episodes, doesn't she?
Well, a shuttle and then a ship. This one was the shuttle. Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple, little nitpicks that I had with that. If McCoy had just consulted Dr. Mbenga, who is an expert on Vulcan physiology, he probably would have known that Spock had this extra eyelid, which we will definitely come back to.
All right, let's hear from another caller. We have Melanie.
So my first thoughts of Sam Kirk and Strange New Worlds were like, oh man, what a nerd. Like the colleague we all have who just makes our eyes twitch by existing. But I became kind of attached to him. He's like a big adorable nerd, unable to read the room, riding Spock up every time. So funny. And I could imagine Pike trapped in a place with him and Spock, and Pike would mediate between them, praying for rescue. Not because of danger, but because he can't handle another second of the bickering. So knowing what happens to him makes me kind of sad. Poor Aurelan, poor Peter, we never hear from them again. So, yes, I'm sorry he will die there. The TOS episode, though, was quite good. A nice monster of the week tale with flying half-cooked eggs. It was well done, and Shatner with moustache as Sam was okay for me. Well, those are my thoughts. Take care and live long and prosper.
All right, Melanie.
I do like the thought of Pike trapped. Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of this episode kind of reminds me of pieces of the Ghosts of Illyria. You've got an organism that is sensitive to light. You've got a planet that people beam down to expecting to run into a population and then do not. And it almost feels like foreshadowing to have Sam help out with the solution in Strange New Worlds to this crazy light-based organism, only to fall to these organisms that are weak to very specific kinds of light. It's it is so subtle, but I have to believe, with the showrunners being such big TOS fans, that was probably taken into consideration for that episode.
At least partly inspired by, yeah. Yeah, there's a point where when they're discussing how their brain cells and like this very strange, unique organism, I was like, man, if only they had a really talented exobiologist nearby. Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
I mean, they kind of do. He's over there on the floor.
Waiting for his plates to come back because
hey, he died doing what he loved.
Plates.
But studying some kind of alien parasite. So.
Yes.
Get
Now,
up close and personal to
Very up close and personal.
Did you guys notice that McCoy is kind of talking like he has a toothache for like half of this episode?
He's talking like he is like drunk, but past the point where you're feeling good drunk, where you're just like, I want to be done being drunk. When he is describing all the parasite tendrils through the body and stuff with Kirk on the bridge, I'm like, dude, do you just need to go take a nap? Like, what's going on, McCoy?
Or he's got like a great big dip in and he's like trying not to let it leak out, because there's a couple scenes where he's like, swear he's not moving half of his face. And I'm like, is he in unbelievable pain right now while filming this? Like, and wouldn't that be ironic for the doctor to be in pain?
It's like, Nimoy can't outact me here.
Yeah.
I'll show him. I'll have a toothache in the scene. I know.
And like, people always describe McCoy as being pretty super grumpy, and my experience with him is mostly the movies where he's not nearly as grumpy as he comes across in episodes like this. I'm like, oh, here it is. Okay. Like, he really is just on one all the time in this episode. Like you said, Cam, fine, I tried this, and then he did, like, I'm done, and he does the Paul Rudd Wet Hot American Summer thing, throws the alien across the room and leaves the medical bay. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I was just going to say, like, I think it would work if it felt like he had been doing more, but he just keeps coming out and being like, I tried this and didn't work, don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And as they're saying, like, how about we just convey that you're spending more time and effort on this than it seems you are.
But we do get a nice character moment from him where he tells Kirk to his face straight across, hey, Spock is the best first officer in the fleet, okay?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is nice, but it's kind of weird that Kirk then implies that if Spock really is the best first officer, he'll survive an insane level of exposure to impossibly bright light. Like, that's on your list of criteria for best first officers, that they can live through stuff? Okay.
Well,
when McCoy says somebody is bright, he literally means they can stand a lot of light. That's how he learned that word growing
and
up.
I think some of his cockiness as a doctor probably comes from the fact that his sick bay has more comfortable looking pillows than literally the rest of all of Star Trek.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Before they said, we
that
need shiny flat pillows. Like, no. We just need nice, soft pillows.
Yeah.
Those came from McCoy's Nana's house.
Seriously. Because every other pillow from here on out, it's like comfort is the last consideration when designing these. And it's like, that's what a pillow is. It's the essence of comfort. You're just supposed to be comfortable on it. Come on.
I mean, you can tell sick bay is comfortable because he's wearing a sick bay hospital gown as his uniform for the episode. Like, he and Spock are wearing the same thing. And speaking of Spock, I really liked like just how much Nimoy got to just have fun portraying, like, I'm in pain, I'm fighting this. Like, this was a lot of meaty Spock role here.
He does such a good job of conveying just constantly being on the edge of succumbing to pain for like over half this episode. It's remarkable. I mean, it's really good. He does a great job.
It really is
very impressive.
This is a great episode to illustrate the trifecta of Kirk, Spock, McCoy. Like, it really does get to that central relationship of the series of how, a lot of times Spock and McCoy represent, the halves or the parts of Kirk. Like, here's the logical part you need as a captain. Here's the emotional part. You got to trust your gut. But in this episode, we really get them all three as their own characters. And it really just works. And it's what makes Star Trek V good.
Yeah.
And going back to what I was saying about the cold open, I mean, because you don't need Sam Kirk in this episode, right? Like, you don't need Kirk's family to be down there. They could have, I mean, Spock's in trouble. We know that's enough to motivate Kirk. But I think they did do a good job. Like, again, it feels kind of refreshing. You don't get that a lot. You don't get that kind of personal character pain that Kirk is in. He's in emotional pain while Spock's in physical pain, I just realized in this episode. And I thought that did add a nice layer to this episode where, as we've said, not a lot of stuff makes sense, but I do think those kind of core emotional drives do come across really well for the time period.
Okay, so speaking of Sam, why did McCoy flip his body over and go, "Is this your brother, Kirk?" Like, they are clearly identical twins. Like, really, McCoy? Like, are you just a bad doctor sometimes? Are you actually drunk on duty? Because
but that one had a mustache. That one had a mustache. It wasn't identical.
They're
so,
clearly related.
As we know by John just appearing with no beard, it can be, it takes a second to get used to.
Is this your producer? But I will
use that for an intro. Damn it!
Yeah, and I'll also note that last episode we talked about how truly impressive and solid the ADR was, but in this episode, that is not the case. The first scene where McCoy is explaining what he thinks is going on, there's a big jump where he says something like, "as if this happened to their bodies" or something, and his mouth is just open, like it doesn't move. It was
same
rough.
with when Kirk is wrestling the alien off Spock's back and helping him up. It's like, okay, I guess you're talking over this fast forwarded footage. Got it.
Oh, and the slight stain that the alien leaves on Spock's uniform.
Oh, yeah. That was a good touch. Yeah.
So gross. And probably not something they had to consider. Probably something that just happened because of how the aliens were created.
Right. All right, let's hear from our buddy Zoe.
Okay, Pike. This is Zoe. Did you see what they did? They did it. They killed Sam. How could they do that? How can Sam be taken out by a snot pancake? This isn't right. I don't want it. How could they do that? And how was McCoy asking Jim, "Is this your brother?" Like, are you looking at him? You can't see that his brother? Don't tell me that he couldn't see him because the head wasn't facing him. You could see enough of Sam to know that was Sam. Didn't it look like Jim with a mustache? How could you not know that was Jim's brother? And what's up with Spock and Vulcans? Did they just walk around the planet blind half the time and going, "Oh, I forgot that I could go blind because my sun is so blazingly bright"? Did they just forget? They're like, "Oh, I forgot. I treat it like an appendix." What's wrong with Vulcans? Why did they kill Sam? I gotta talk to a counselor or something. Why don't they have counselors on ships? I can't do it. I gotta go. They killed Sam.
Man.
Zoe taking it up a notch.
Does anybody commit the way that Zoe commits every single call? I mean, you guys.
Full send every episode.
We are lucky to have Zoe in our audience and on our stage.
100%.
And yeah, like Spock, this whole episode, as Zoe mentioned, like, really, man, you forgot you have an extra eyelids specifically to deal with wavelengths of light, but also really calm and cool under pressure, very good first officer. Also, Spock would be like really good at football. Did you guys notice that it took 4 people to put him down when he goes on the bridge?
They did a great job of conveying the Vulcan strength in this episode without saying it. Yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes they kind of forget that Vulcans have super strength.
Yeah. He straight tosses Sulu like he is nothing.
I was going to say, Sulu only gets one line, but he gets to tussle with Spock, so that's all right.
Yep. Yeah.
Now, if I may, Zoe, your overacting did make me think of Ariel, is that her name?
Aurelin.
Aurelia.
Aurelia. We all just pronounce it differently. There's the interesting scene where she's in the bed and she's we're getting our first kind of little bit of an exposition dump from her. And it's one of those, I wonder how it played in the day, because like I've seen scenes like that in movies nowadays where someone's just describing the terrors that are happening. They don't really know the words, but it gets really creepy. You know, there's sort of like the My Arm's Been Back in Twin Peaks. I know there's some other examples I can't think of, but where like
Witch,
it's just
stuff like that.
Yeah. Where they're just describing something and you get goosebumps. And I feel like this scene could have been that. There were moments that were like where she said creepy things, but of course it's that day player 60s acting just drives away any sort of like mood or creep or tension. So I wonder if it worked back in the day better.
Now, I believe her first line, something along the lines of the things that came, and then she screams. I think that clip,
them.
I think that's actually used in a Power Man 5000 song.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, the writing there was interesting for sure.
Yeah, and to me, that's what was giving the Lovecraft vibes, right? Like,
yeah.
There's some kind of unknown thing, and like even people that have experienced it aren't really able to describe what's going on. And I mean, it's scary. And I hope that the people of Deneva are as even keeled as Spock, because they are about to have to clean up the grossest mess ever.
Well, I'm wondering why you're saying that, Jesse, because I was wondering, because the first one we see doesn't melt, and then the last ones we see down on the planet melt, but there's still a lot of residue. Are they all just shitting their pants massively? Like, is the entire planet just exhuming the melted bodies of these parasites from any orifice possible?
It's like those videos where they have to like pull the worms out an inch every day. That's the look I was going for, Cam. Yeah.
I'll say it right now. I don't appreciate the popping subreddit, and I don't appreciate that there is a whole show called Dr. Pimple Popper. Like I
agree. Just those words together. Yeah. That's creep. That gives me goosebumps.
I get it. Like intellectually, I get it, but I do not appreciate it. And I just want that to be known. This is not a pro videos of pimple popping podcast.
Absolutely.
Say that again.
Yes,
times.
absolutely.
So, excuse me. The original ending of this episode, probably another draft ending, actually had a scene where Jim allows Peter to go back down to the planet and keep working. I think it's with like Sam's assistant or something, which is maybe a character we didn't meet here.
Okay.
Well, the wiki said his partner, and I was like, ooh, how progressive. It's lab partner. Gotcha.
And the other original piece of this script was that it was not Kirk's brother. Aurelin was meant to be the first person they encounter, and she was just in love with the character who drove the ship into the sun. So I feel like they really managed to punch this up from whatever it was originally, because like you were saying, Cam, there's part of you that's like, oh, really? It's got to be his brother. But it creates this whole layer of like, you have a responsibility to the remaining millions of colonists. And
that's a good scene.
This can't be your white whale hunt, right? And, you know, it does also make me wonder, like, why was Kirk... I mean, I know why Kirk was so much more torn up about the death of Spock, but it kind of makes you think, like, oh, there's going to be a scene in season 3 of Strange New Worlds where Sam and Jim have, like, a huge falling out. And he's like, fine, go to Deneva then. I don't even care. I hope you don't die there. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I was like, now that we have Strange New Worlds, it makes you think what their last words together were, and they probably weren't great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was funny going into the episode. I was already kind of writing some notes in my head about like, oh, well, you know, we've seen how Kirk is affected by Spock's death, and why is he not affected by Sam's death in anywhere near the same way? But again, I think like, I mean, it's underplayed, but I mean, purposefully so, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it does feel like it affects him in a big way. And of course, you know, it's a different situation than in the middle of a nebula with Khan chasing you and separated by a pane of glass and watching them die. But
exactly.
And you could argue that
I mean, it worked well enough that I did not write that note down.
Yes. And you could argue that he is trying to keep it buttoned up because his nephew is still there. and he's understanding like, okay, this is, I'm now all this kid has left as far as family goes. But I do want to talk about this kid because no, he doesn't have any lines in this episode. Apparently he had one.
Open his eyes.
Right.
Yeah.
Apparently he had one in the original. I think they actually filmed that scene where he goes back down to the planet, but it was cut. So he ends up with no lines. But this child actor also ends up in another episode that is very child centric of the original series. And he has lines. And I mean, I don't dislike all child actor performances or anything, but like 60s child actor performances are a different series, a different story maybe. But this actor is very impactful to the universe of Star Trek, and I will explain after John plays the following sound clip. You certainly recognize this as the V'ger sound from Star Trek The Motion Picture. Peter Kirk is played by Craig Hundley, and not only would he be in another episode of TOS, as I mentioned, he invented the blaster beam, which is the musical instrument that makes that sound.
Hell yeah.
Like,
I thought that was just a techno remix of the little aliens farting.
it could be, but maybe that's where his inspiration came from. But yeah,
that's cool.
The dude went on to become like an actual musician. He's got albums out. Like, I was blown away because when I clicked on his name, I was thinking like, oh, he'll have been in 2 episodes of Lassie and an episode of Little Home on the Prairie or something. Like, I had no idea. But yeah, like, I mean, Star Trek takes care of its actors whenever it can, right? Like, once you
Please tell me we can go out and find a very Blaster Beam Christmas album. Like, yes. And if not, Peter, get on
Blaster Beam, Blaster Beam, Blaster all the way.
Peter is still around, so it's possible that could be coming. I was very delighted to find out that not only did he get to keep contributing to Star Trek, but that he is currently still alive as of this recording.
Very cool.
Cool.
Yeah. And before we go to our next caller, Mark, I liked you mentioned the McCoy reminding Kirk that this isn't just about his family, that it is about a million people. And I think my favorite piece of writing in this episode is when Kirk one-ups him and is like, oh yeah, well, I might have to kill that million people to save a billion people on other planets. So how's that feel, McCoy?
Yeah,
I'm going to go back to captaining my ship. Yeah.
The professional zinger is like a staple of original series writing.
Yeah, that was very well done. Let's hear from Mark.
Hey, Open Pike, Night Engineer Mark here, and today you're going all the way back into the beginnings of my trek for Operation Annihilate. And as much as the last episode you guys watched was so great on the cinematography, well, this time, no. They know they're at the end of a season, they know they're renewed, and you can see it. Starting with the special effects of the flying omelets, stingray monsters, and just basic camera work was really bad in some places. And then we get into the actual story where, Sam Kirk dies. And Dr. McCoy, you have one job on this ship and you failed at it. There is not a he's dead Jim for our friend Sam. Totally blew it. As far as the rest of the episode is concerned, there's things that I would pick on, like the usual ship security is atrocious. Oh, we're going to restrain the Vulcan with Velcro. Yeah, okay, you do that. And it just carries along to a point where at the end of the episode, I was kind of glad they had finally figured out they could kill it with light in a space air fryer. And that was probably the best part of the episode. So until next time, live long and prosper.
I love when people who love Star Trek don't like episodes.
Anybody else
is the best criticism.
Suddenly want space mozzarella sticks or like space wings? Because the space air fryer is really making me hungry.
Absolutely. It was a cool looking space air fryer and cool goggles to go with it.
I like that everyone came up with different food analogies for these aliens. And yeah, Mark, one, I do have the note that like the music does a lot of heavy lifting in this episode. There's some good music, and then there's like just scenes where like we can't show what we're talking about, so the music's doing everything. I also noticed there was an interesting scene where the camera's whipping between characters on the bridge, and it's kind of a cool, tense moment, but it's like the cameraman was like, look, you got me for 2 whips, because he whips to Kirk, he whips to someone else, and then it just starts cutting between people. But the tension didn't change, and I was like, why didn't you just keep whipping? That was cool.
It was
like, this is probably really, he threw out his back.
Good. Yeah. It's like, Or he was the first guy to ever do that with a camera on a TV show, and they were like, I don't know if that's going to read, man.
Seems kind of commie to me, you know? What are we doing running around with a camera here? What, it was 66?
Now, to Mark's point about the special effects, you know, when I was growing up, which, you know, we'll just say that was semi-recently, I remember adults talking about like, oh yeah, you know, Star Trek was good and it was fun, but you could like see the strings on the Enterprise and all this stuff. And I haven't had the benefit of seeing all the original footage, right? I mostly have watched the remastered series. But I do also wonder, like, well, first of all, are you for sure? Because like this was like way lower than regular standard definition TV the first time you saw it. And I kind of wonder if they're referring to moments like where these aliens, air quotes, fly off of the wall, right? Because you can see that was done with a string, right? But you cannot see the string. And now I'm interested to see the original footage. I want to know if there's like flashes of fishing line between aliens in this episode.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Speaking of despite the wonkiness of like, blasting him with 1,000,000 lumens and everything, I did think again that they managed to convey the weight of blinding the first officer pretty well, considering that was like just a 5-minute sequence, and we all know that Spock is not blind after this. I thought they carried the emotional punch of that well, and I do wonder again with the strange new worlds of it all, was Spock thinking of Himmer in that moment when he stepped out of the box and realized he couldn't see.
Yeah. And we know that in modern TV, if this were an episode today, he would not regain his vision.
Right.
Like, this is the final episode of the season. He's ending the season blind.
Yeah.
And we have no idea if he'll get it back. And like, who knows? He could not. But yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't had that in my notes. I always try and add our Strange New Worlds knowledge into my notes for this, but I hadn't even thought about Hemmer and him being blind and Spock, like,
am I going to get psychic powers?
Yeah. And Spock was definitely better at controlling his emotions, you know, because he sees Sam Kirk dead too. I was like, man, those guys were, you know, there was a bromance there too. He bromanced both Kirks.
He was probably thinking, finally, a clean table in the mess hall.
Yes.
And I also wonder if he was inspired by Hemmer to lash out at McCoy with the nastiest burn ever. Like, he uses his moment of regaining sight to just torch the guy that blinded him. So nasty.
Every episode. Is it every episode just ends with a man crush ending? But like,
it's pretty common.
At least a very high percentage of them, and I just love it. Like, no matter the tone, no matter what's happened, you're like, well, I know the last 3 minutes are going to be all of them just having a little thruple moment.
Throwing out, yep.
And they're going to give us that, like, wasn't that fun? Isn't everything fun music? That dun 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 dun.
My brother's dead, but we still joke.
Speaking of brothers dead, we have our final caller. Here is Abby Summer.
Oh.
Hey, Open Pike. It's Abby Summer from the First Flight podcast. This episode's a doozy, isn't it? I mean, I love practical effects, but the flying pancakes of rubber snot that ooze and cry and bark like seals are definitely an unforgettable moment, but I'm not sure their success rate. However, the Vulcan inner eyelid, chef's kiss, great solution, and what a cool addition to the lore. And this episode has it all. It has Shatner being so Shatner in his delivery. We've got an emotional Spock. We've got the dramatic lighting. We've got the 60s makeup. We've got Chapel again. This is a fun episode. Campy as all get out, but fun. And poor Sam. I mean, if nothing else, he's been remembered for decades for having a great mustache. And I love that this tiny little one-off character who was not even important enough to cast with a new actor has given us the rich character that we now have in Strange New Worlds. So bravo. I love what Strange New World does to classic Trek, recontextualizing it and making us think about it more, and more of that's coming. So can't wait to see what happens with Sam in the next season and what you guys have to say about this absolutely campily hilarious episode. Hope you and yours are well. Talk soon.
Okay, Abby brings up a lot that I still need to talk about from my notes. We do get some great scenes with Christine here. I think my favorite one is when McCoy is like analyzing the creature and he looks at her and doesn't say anything, but she looks back to it. I'm like, yes, it's very gross. And that's like, that's like the whole scene. But it does, you know, knowing her history with Spock, it kind of adds more weight to the scene where he just pushes past her to get out of the sick bay. And it's like tiny little moments like that. It really feels like it has been fleshed out. And I'm very appreciative of that. To her questions about season 3, and I know you guys always talk about small universe syndrome, et cetera, and I don't disagree with that. But do we think we might get to at least meet O'Reilly in season 3? Like maybe there's a conference? I don't know. There's been a suspicious lack of conferences in Strange New Worlds compared to a lot of Star Trek.
I was watching this being like, oh, I'm surprised we haven't met these characters yet.
Yeah.
Like these are characters that would make sense to be introduced to. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe they're on another planet. Who knows? Like they could be visited easily. Because Sam is right now, what? He's on the Gorn ship?
Yes.
I believe so, yeah.
And how long has he been on the Gorn ship, guys? Just refresh me.
let's not talk about
let me
it.
check the hash marks on my wall.
Now? Yeah.
Yeah, I would love, I mean, I know we keep making the messy Sam jokes, but like if Spock and O'Reilly got together and were just commiserating about messy Sam. Like, does he do that at home all the time? Yes.
That'd be fun.
I don't let him anywhere near the kitchen. But I also agree with Abby that I actually really like, you know, despite the execution being a little bit wonky, I really like the inner eyelid thing with Spock because it's the writers recognizing, hey, we need to at least attempt to explain this, right? Like, this is an episode where we just went, oh, Kirk has a brother, by the way. Also, he's dead. So we need to give something to this. And for them to kind of jump into like an ecological evolution thing is pretty cool. Like, oh yeah, because Vulcan is a desert planet with a super intense sun, which, you know, we eventually learn is true. We have this thing, and it's like, okay, that's good enough. Just give us a couple of lines. And then, you know, throughout TOS, there are times where they remember to do that and times where they don't.
Yeah.
Well, it reminded me a lot of, another moment where a Star Trek doctor thought she had almost, well, in this case, killed a patient, only to find out, oh, Worf's got 2 spines.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, very similar situation.
They did reuse that exact thing. And we haven't even mentioned yet Scotty in this episode, who, one, obviously takes after Pelia because he was an engineering advisor before he was on the Enterprise. He talks about his time doing that. And also, he gets one up on Spock, and he holds Spock off from transporting the planet. And I enjoyed the whole, no, I'm fine. I can, you know, Spock being like, nope, I'm fine now. I'm all good. And then trying to go to the planet, but in a way that we wouldn't see these days, where it's like, no, I'm still infected. I'm in horrible pain. I'm trying to do this. I'm not like being controlled. Like I am fighting control. And that's why I'm trying to get to the planet to get a sample. Like that was cool. That was a cool aspect. And yeah, seeing Scotty just be like, I know you. I've served with you long enough. I got a phaser on you right now, buddy.
That is a really well delivered scene because like you can hear in Scotty's voice, he's like, dude, I promise I will shoot you. Like, do not test me.
Yeah. And then going back to the chapel of it all, I do love the scene where her and McCoy have the little face off about what they're going to do with Spock, whether they're just going to close him up or try to get these aliens out. And of course, you know, she's super jealous that someone else is all up inside his guts. Understandable, given the circumstances.
Yep.
Now,
their history together. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have this moment of McCoy not being sure if the guy that looks exactly like Kirk is a Kirk. But we also get a moment like that from Jim. Because when he finally realizes that light is the way to go, he clarifies and goes, light, like in a sun. Like, yeah, dude. No fucking kidding. Like, that's what suns are known for.
Also gravity. So going back to Spock's pain, before he learns to control it, we see a lot of Spock in pain because, Star Trek has like a super logical character. Half the episodes are going to show that logical character being illogical for whatever reason, horniness, pain parasites. We always got to show them out of character. But in all those scenes, what do you think the over-under odds are on us having seen Nimoy's O face? There was a lot of facial contortions. One of them has to be his orgasm expression.
I think now people call that the vinegar face, Cameron.
I don't like that term
because it looks like somebody held up a spoonful of vinegar to your nose, and you're
exactly. That's why I don't like that term.
Shout out
I do not want vinegar and that other moment being combined in my mind.
Shout out to Paul Scheer. Go check out The League if you haven't, and go listen to our episode with Paul Scheer. Now,
absolutely,
I'm okay with it now.
Last couple little things. There's some good details in this. I really like the lucite tools that they use on Deneva. I kind of wonder why all of their scientific tools are basically tube with no opening. Like, okay, whatever. But then one of my favorite moments in this is when Aurelin, this is a weird way to phrase this, but when Aurelin dies, there is no like flat line like you would get in a modern medical drama, right? There's no beep, beep, beep. That heartbeat monitor just stops. And you don't even notice that you were hearing it, that bump, bump, bump. It just stops. And I think it's actually more effective than the flatline tone. And I really like that subtle attention to detail here.
Especially because we get that, then we get the pause, and then we just see all the vitals start slowly dropping off. Like, oh, man, no, she's dead. Okay.
It's very well done.
Yeah.
Well, going back to the tools real quick, just the one guy who tries to attack Spock later is carrying the headpiece to the staff of Ra.
Yes, he is.
I guess maybe the aliens' whole search is to try to find the Ark of the Covenant is now my headcanon.
Yeah. And Spock finds red wall. I don't know. I wrote that down for some reason. It was a very, very red wall. It was. I was like, wow, this is like the fight against that. Damn, that is if I worked on that campus or at that building, I'd be like, I can't sit here, man. It's like overwhelming my vision.
Did you guys know that the Indiana Jones theme song actually has lyrics, much like the Star Trek theme song has lyrics that you never hear?
Really?
Yeah, it goes, Indiana fucking Jones. Indiana fucking Jones, Jones, Jones. It did not test well, so they...
People who say that cussing isn't funny, that would not have been funny without the fucking.
Exactly.
So, proof positive right there.
I'm trying out a new thing.
Yeah. I mean, does anybody else have any notes? Because that's Operation Annihilate.
Well, thank you, John, because you just brought up, I think, the final note we do need to discuss. I am a fan of punctuation in titles. What the fuck? Bring it back to that. Is happening with this title.
Okay,
it's very strange.
They didn't have an M dash yet, so they
didn't have a colon. Because that's what comes after Operation.
They hadn't seen all those 80s movies yet either, so that's not really on them. But you're gonna have a title that has dashes and an exclamation point? Like, okay.
And the whole time I was like, oh, okay, the aliens are trying to annihilate them, and then we've got to annihilate. No, it's just we're annihilating the aliens, and even then, it's only to cure the people. We're not really trying to exterminate them. We're just trying to cure the people.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think it could be left over.
I had problems.
I think it could be left over from the draft where they go to the alien planet and nuke it,
which I guess was called Operation Destroy.
Oh, really?
And I do like Annihilate better than
Annihilate. Annihilate rolls off the tongue better.
It's a much better
word.
I
guess, much like the movie Annihilation, I think anything with the word annihilate in it is just kind of a weird story. Like,
I loved that movie. It was like watching a Tool music video set to like a plot, and it yes, it is very weird, and like the last couple shots I was like, oh, it's a little bit of a cop out, but I really liked the movie for the most part. And did you guys know, or rather, do you guys know how many other Star Trek titles contain an exclamation point?
Well, I, like you, have read the fandom wiki, so I do know.
Yes,
I haven't.
A good chunk of this does come from Memory Alpha.
Out of 900 something episodes, does Lower Decks have any? I'm going to say like 5 tops.
That's a good guess, but it's actually one.
Really?
One other.
And it is a Voyager episode called Bride of Chaotica.
Oh,
I believe that's how it's supposed to be pronounced.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Once you see it, you'll know that was accurate.
Wow. One other. That's pretty impressive for 900 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they use this sparingly for as exotic as they get with the title sometimes.
And I do wonder if they were told, like, okay, put this in every show Bible going forward. No exclamation points.
No exclamation points.
Unless you really mean it.
Yeah, you've got to earn the exclamation.
Well, before we wrap up, it is Star Trek Day. Happy Star Trek Day to everybody. Yes, I know this is coming out a couple days late, but it is officially Star Trek Day. Star Trek is 58 years old. So I think we can officially, that is solidly in the 3 generations of people have grown up with Star Trek existing.
Star Trek is a MILF.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
absolutely.
has its AARP
a masterpiece
card.
I'd like to frequently watch. I don't know.
And do. So that's good. Yeah. So is it a boomer or is it like early Gen X? I can't remember. 66. That's still got to be boomer, doesn't it? Well, no, that's probably early Gen X.
I think it's just inside the Gen X limits.
Yeah,
which,
I think it's
which
like a year or 2 into Gen X.
Are, completely arbitrary and probably unnecessary in everyday society, but it probably does count.
Now we got Gen Alpha Star Trek coming out here with Lower Decks starting up in October next month. So
I don't understand, like, how they go from Gen Z to Zoomers, or is that the same thing? And then it's Gen Alpha? Like, I don't like it, you guys. Back in my day.
They keep thinking that the world is going to end because a lot of people are kind of working toward the end of the world for some reason because of one book. But they just keep trying to be like, well, this is the last one. No, I guess not. All right, then we're just circling back around because there's no other naming conventions.
But, what's more human than assuming the generation before you has ruined everything and hoping that the generation after you is somehow able to fix it?
Absolutely.
The most human.
Yeah.
Human.
Although it really seems like with Star Trek, it goes the other way, that the generation after you is ruining everything and that the generation before you was the only good one. So, like reverse weird fandom stuff there.
Well,
but
it's after World War III. This is when that takes
that's true. That's true. There we go. But Jesse, we had some great callers today. If anybody else, like Sub Commander Tall, wants to call into Open Pike Night for the first time, how can they do that?
The easiest way to do anything that involves Open Pike Night is to go to openpike.com. You can record your voicemail there directly. You can see links to our Patreon, to our merch. Everything is all in one place at openpike.com. And of course, you can follow us on your social media of preference at OpenPike. I have not been quite as active with the account on Twitter lately. I don't know if you've been there, but it's a bit of a cesspool right now, which is probably not surprising, but I'm just putting my energy into other more positive things. Like I've been playing a lot of Pokemon on Nintendo Switch, and that's, I think, been really good for my mental health. But if you need to get a hold of us on social media, I'm totally there, and I will absolutely reply to you.
And Cameron, where can folks find more of you and I?
Yeah, if you want to hear more TNG observations from me like I made in this episode, you can hear that over on Green Shirt, A Newbie's Trek the Next Generation, where John is walking me through TNG for the first time, along with Rob and Bobby. We are nearing the end, so very close to being done with Season 7, and we're also diving into a quick recaps of DS9.
I gotta say, Cameron, I was so excited to hear your thoughts on Whispers, one of my favorite DS9 episodes. Happy to be on the same page with you on that one.
Excellent.
Yeah. And I think all 3 of us are going to be on the same page again the day after we recorded this, because we're going to be recording the episode for TNG's Lower Decks, and Jesse is joining us as the guest for that.
Good call. Yeah.
I called that episode like 2 years ago.
It's true. It's true.
And I, unfortunately, yes, had to shave my majestic beard. I have a new job that requires me to wear a respirator every now and then, and so cannot do that with facial hair. You totally can. You can get away with a lot of facial hair in a respirator, but, you know, corporate policies, blah, blah, blah. So I have gone back to clean shaven, and I don't know, what do I look? 10 years younger, guys? 12? What do you think?
Also, like, when did you shave that? Because I can already see it coming back. Like,
it's been
fighting you.
It's been like 3 days. So
okay, yeah.
It's fighting the control.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I know that feeling, brother. I haven't used a razor in years because
it was weird. It was very weird.
Yeah, it just creates discomfort. I use a trimmer at all times.
Nice. Yeah, no, I do have to do I do clean shaves, but man, I was thinking back when I was trimming it off, and I was like, man, it's been 4 years almost since I put shaving cream on my face for any reason.
Yeah.
So,
and we don't have to include this, but I have to ask, how did your partner react the first time she saw you?
Not great. And there was plenty of warning.
So it's not part of the deal.
Yeah, there was plenty of warning, and there has been plenty of mourning for sure. Yeah. So
I signed up for a man in the house. Who is this child?
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, solidarity and strength, John. It takes a big man to change something that iconic about himself to make sure that his immediate significant others can survive. So good on you, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. It has been a long night or morning for Jesse, and the Open Pike Night crew has to go shine a bunch of lights in our back room. The farting, squirting sounds are getting out of hand, and we got to go clear out our brain parasite cellular creatures. So be sure to clean up after yourselves. Be sure to tip your servers. You can go anywhere you want, but you can't stay here.